Yo, what's good fam? Welcome to the channel. Now today we're jumping into the basics of CSS. We're starting off with a simple HTML page and styling it up with some slick CSS. Now I know what you're thinking. CSS can seem a bit tricky when you're first starting out, but trust me, we're going to keep it simple, break it down, and by the end of the video, you'll be styling your pages like a pro. So whether you're a total beginner or you've dabbled a bit and want to level up, stick around. We're about to jump into the world of CSS and get your site looking nice. Let's go. All right. So now the first thing we've got to do is tell the HTML document about CSS rules. There are 3 ways to apply CSS to HTML. But we'll focus on the most common method, which is linking a CSS file from the head of your document. Now what we need to do is firstly create a file called styles.css. Now the CSS extension indicates that it's a CSS file. Now, after we've done that, to connect the style CSS to index.html, we need to add the following line here in the head, which will be a link. So we can go link, use relation, which is style sheet. And then I've got my autocomplete there, which is helping me out. So the href, we put it as styles.css because it's in the root of the folder, so we don't need to go into any other folder. It's quite simple. Now this link element tells the browser that we've got a style sheet using the rel attribute and where it is with the href attribute. Now to check that the CSS is working, let's just try change something within the styles. So let's say we've got this H1 here, and let's just try to change that color to, let's say, red. So if we change color equals to red and save it, let's refresh. Okay, that's not working. So definitely something wrong here. Let's try to figure out what that is. Oh, you can see here, I actually put style, the autocomplete put style, not styles.css. So if we do that and save, that's changed. Now by making our heading red, I've shown you how to target and style an HTML element using a selector. Now, for example, if we wanted to target all the paragraphs and make them green, we can do something like this, use the P to target paragraphs, and then we can change the color to green. And if we save that, so you can see here, it's changed all the paragraphs to green. Now, to target multiple selectors, like paragraphs and list items, we could use a comma to separate them. So let's say if I do paragraph and then li, and then we use the color green. Again, actually let's change it up. Let's do purple so we can see the difference as well. And if save that, it's changed the paragraphs and the list items to purple. Now let's say if we just wanted the list items to be purple and the rest of the paragraphs to be green, we can just target the list items to be purple. So you can see here, the H1 is a color of red, paragraph is green, and then the list items are in purple. Now when you check out a basic HTML doc, the browser makes it look good with default styles. Now let's say, headings are bold, lists have bullets, as we can see here. Now these defaults make sure everything isn't just a big text blob, but sometimes you want to switch things up and override that. Like let's say if we wanted to get rid of the bullets in an unordered list. Now we can do that by using the list style type property. So let's just do this all within here. So if we do list style type, and then change this to none. See here, it just removed all the bullets. Now let's say beside removing bullets, you can change them, let's say to change it to from a circle bullet to a square bullet, and we can use square here, and that's changed it. So we've been styling elements just by using the HTML tags. Now that's all good if you want all your tags to look the same. But sometimes you only want to switch up a few of them without messing up the rest. Now that's where adding a class comes in. So let's go back to the HTML page. And let's add a class to this second list item, so item 2 just here. So we do this by adding class and then equals, let's just add special. Now in your CSS, you can target that special class by using a selector. So you can see it here. Let's just type it out, special. And let's say if I want to change the color to orange and we want it to have a font weight of bold. So if we save that, as you can see, it's only made the change for the item with the class of special. Now, as you can imagine, sometimes you might have a bunch of elements using that class. So it's often easier to just target that class directly unless you're looking to be real specific and make sure that the style only hits certain elements. So for example, let's say if we wanted this second paragraph to have the same styling, which is the color of orange and the font weight of bold, we can just easily add a class of special to that. And if we save it, as you can see, it's targeted that. So we could use the same class on multiple elements. Now, sometimes you want things to look different depending on where they're sitting in the document. Now, there are loads of selectors that can help you with that, but for now, we'll just use a couple of them. Now in the document, we've got two M elements or emphasis. So we've got one, let me just show you just here, it's emphasized, and the second one is here with 3, and you can see that right here and here. Now let's say if we wanted to target this one right here, which is within a list item, so it's this M tag within the list item, we can do that easily by selecting first the list item and then separating it with a space and then M. So let's say if we wanted to change that, the color of this one right here, let's just say to black for now. If we do that and save it, you can see that that's now changed to black. To make it stand out, let's just add let's add a font weight of bold as well. So you can see that right here. Now what this does is essentially is targeting any M tag that's nested within a list item. So anywhere that this happens in our HTML doc, this styling will apply. Let's try styling this paragraph when it's right after a heading. Now to do that, you could use a next symboling combinator, which is just the plus sign. So I'll just show you right here. So we could do H1 plus paragraph. And then let's just change the font size for this one. So let's do font size equals, say, 200%. So as you can see, that's taken effect. It's only styling the paragraph that is immediately after the H1. As you can see here, the second paragraph isn't being styled. So if we look at the HTML, we can see that after the H1, the first paragraph after that is this one right here that has taken those styling. Now, as you can see, CSS gives us several ways to target elements, and we've only scratched the surface on what is possible so far. Now, we'll be taking a proper look in a later video on selectors. All right, let's dive into a bit of styling where we can make things change depending on what state they're in. So a good example for this is with links. Now, when you're dealing with links, you're targeting the anchor elements, or the A elements, as we can see right here. Now, this can be in different states. So when it's unvisited, similar to how it is here, when it's been clicked, when someone's hovering over it, or when it's been focused on with a keyboard. Now, you could use CSS to hit these different states. Now, let's try to do that here. So let's put an A, and then we could use link. So let's change the color to, let's say, pink. So here, as you can see, the change has taken effect. Now let's say when it's visited, we want it to change to green. So we could add the visited sort of state here and change that to, let's say, green. Now if we click on that, okay, and let's go back. Now, if you want to switch up how the link looks when someone hovers over it, like maybe if you want to ditch the underline, let's do this. We could use A and then hover, and let's do text decoration equals none. So let's refresh. So if we hover over it, you can see that the link disappears. Now in CSS, you can mix and match selectors and combinators to get super specific about what you want to style. For example, let's do something like this. It's an article and then P and the span. Now, this will target any span element that's within a paragraph which is inside an article. And you can see it here. It's showing how that looks visually. That the span will be within the paragraph and that's within the article. Now let's try something else. So let's do it H1 and P and actually, and let's try this. So this targets any paragraph that comes right after an unordered list, which is right after a H1. And you can see it visually. This is how it would look in the HTML. Now let's step it up. Let's go with something like this. So let's use body and H1. And let's add the color of, what haven't we used? Let's see, let's use aqua, even though it probably won't look great on the white screen. And put a background color of black. And let's put a padding of 5 pixels. So this is targeting an element with a special class that's within a paragraph, which is right next to a H1, which is within a body. So if we, now actually I forgot to add, so you can see here, this is an element with the class of special that's within a paragraph. However here, we haven't actually added that class of special to the span. So let's do that here. And as you can see, the styling has taken effect. All right, now that's it. So you've made it through the basics of CSS. Now big up yourself for getting stuck in. Now we've covered the essentials, like how to start styling your page, the importance of linking your CSS file, and a taste of what you can do with selectors. Now you've seen how powerful this stuff can be, even just with a few lines of code. Now it might feel like there's a lot to take in, but practice makes perfect. See ya.